I'm just out in the quailery at the moment because I've got a bit of news with regards to the Blue Egg project. So I pretty much abandoned my Blue Egg project about this time last year just because I was doing the maths on it and the number of males I would have had to keep and the amount of work I would have had to do to work out which one was the best one to breed from was something that I really didn't want to take on. At that time, so I'm just careful so I don't put my foot down on any of my little friends here. At that time I had 10 males that were from that were bred from chicks that had hatched out of blue eggs. So took the blue eggs, took the blue eggs, hatched those, bred those that would have been probably half brother, half sisters together. Not ideal, but the only way I could really think of doing it. Bred those together, and then from those, the males, I had 10 males. What I was going to have to do was keep those 10 males, give them each at least one female, and then hatch the eggs from each of those pairings and see how many of the offspring, the female offspring, laid blue eggs. And that's without even knowing whether it was a dominant gene or a recessive gene or anything like that. So the idea being that the male and female will each give one allele to their offspring. And if it's a recessive gene, you need to have 2 of those. If it's a dominant gene, you just need to have 1. Yes, same to you. I thought it was a dominant gene because those hens that were hatched out of blue eggs also laid blue eggs, and all of them did. So I was saying to myself, okay, it's got to be a dominant gene. I'm assuming. I don't know. This is only like first year, second year university genetics, so and even then I didn't do very well in it. So the idea was then to take each of those males. I would have to hatch out some chicks from the eggs that the males with the females produced, and if they were all laying blue eggs, that meant that the male was a good male for the breeding project, and if none of them laid blue eggs, that meant he was useless, and if only half of them laid blue eggs, which is what I was expecting from most of the males, then I knew that he wasn't as good as one that had all producing blue eggs, which is an awful lot of effort to go to. I will show you the difference now because they have started laying between my blue eggs and my normal eggs, because I have a lot of quail in here and most of them are female. There are 2 males knocking about that managed to escape. I'll show you those eggs now. Okay, these are my normal eggs, with this one where someone just seems to have used up all their toner on one egg, which is rather fun, but it's quite a small one, so that's like a practice egg. And then these are my blue ones. They don't really show up that well on the camera, but when you put them next to, say, this one and this one, you'll see that actually there is a definite difference. See if we can get into focus. There we go. There is a definite difference in the background on the egg. And this one here, it's probably a bit clearer because there's less pigmentation on that one. There's a definite difference in the background colour of the egg. Now, what I've done is bought some hatching eggs to see if I can't just sort of... Hello there, I'm trying to escape. See if I can't just work out or introduce some more blue egg genes and just play around with it a little bit. I'll show you those now. Are you pecking at my foot? Why are you pecking at my foot? Stop pecking at my foot, young lady. Ooh. I think she's got a pink leghorn, which means that she is one of the blue egg layers. And this is one of the males. This one here. He's quite pretty because he's almost all white. So I was thinking of keeping him and maybe breeding him with some of my my lovely whites I've got. Oh, where's that beautiful Italian? I've got an absolutely stunning Italian that is really, really pale. She's like, oh, there she is. There she is. She's a bit easily spooked. Do you see her just there? See how pale she is compared to this one here running around? She's got this lovely sort of champagne-y colour compared to all the others. She's just a little princess and I love her. I think she's absolutely beautiful. Anyway, that's enough of that. Let's have a look at eggs. A couple of years ago, you couldn't get Celadon quail eggs in the UK. You could find them in America, you could find them in Europe. Short of doing a day trip to Europe and bringing some over, I couldn't figure out a way to get any to me. And then on eBay, someone popped up, it was only one seller, popped up selling 12 Celadon quail eggs for £120, plus postage and packing. £120 for just 12 eggs. Well, that was a bit rich for my blood, so I didn't go down that route. And anyway, I knew full well that they only had a limited amount of time to make their money, and good for them, they made a lot. They only had a limited amount of time to make their money because, of course, one of the great things about quail is that from hatching out of a tiny egg like this to laying a tiny egg like this is about 8 weeks. So that person only had a limited amount of time before their Celadon eggs would be Celadon quail laying their own Celadon eggs and other people would be cashing in. So I left it and I left it. So the other day I had another look on eBay and the price has come down quite considerably. It's about 10% of what it was. So I actually made a cheeky offer to one seller and I made a cheeky offer to another seller and they both accepted. So I've now got 48 Celadon quail eggs for less than £30, including postage and packing. So what I was thinking of doing is incubating these, hatching them out, and then the males from these Celadon eggs, breeding those to my blue egg layers and seeing what happens. Now, I don't know whether that's the same genes that code for the blue and the Celadon eggs and the lack of pigment are the ones that will code for the blue egg in my ones. But I know that in my ones the inside of the egg is blue, and I can't help thinking it's very like in chickens and in ducks you get a blue egg gene. And I think it is a dominant gene. I can't remember. I can't remember off the top of my head. But I know with Celadon quail is that if you have 50% Celadon quail, they don't lay Celadon eggs. Only 100% Celadon quail lay Celadon eggs. But then, of course, it depends what variation, what percentage the male is. So you've got to breed 100% Celadon male to 100% Celadon female to get Celadon laying eggs. Celadon laying eggs, Celadon laying females. It's been a long week. So this is what I've got. They all look pretty good. Some of them are quite badly soiled. This lot is worse than that lot. That one is very even size, even colour, even pigmentation, very clean, wonderful. This seller, dirty egg, bit smaller than I'd like, bit smaller than I'd like, bit smaller than I'd like. That one's got a crack in it. It is a hairline crack, so I'm going to put it in and see what happens. But ordinarily, I would not bother incubating that egg if it was my own egg and I could choose. And I probably shouldn't put it in anyway, because with a hairline crack, even a hairline crack, it affects the permeability of the shell. It's more likely to get bacteria in it. It's more likely to then become bad, and also it might be more difficult if the chick does fully develop. It might be more difficult for the chick to actually get out of the egg because they sort of lever themselves from the egg, and if the egg's already compromised it might be a problem. The really good thing about these is versus a standard quail egg, you wouldn't bother candling that. I mean, that one's got less pigmentation on it, but if you had something like that with these really dark spots, I wouldn't normally bother candling my quail eggs because A, you can't see very much, B, they don't take very long to actually develop. They'll take 18 days, whereas the duck eggs that I'm incubating, they take 28 days. So there's more time for something to go wrong, more time for bacteria to develop, which is another reason why I would never incubate one of those, particularly if it was a duck egg. Just wouldn't bother. As it's a quail egg, I'm going to give it a go. I also have a problem in that that incubator is full, and the only other incubator I've got is a mini 2 Advance, which only fits 12 quail eggs in it. And they've got 15 days left to go. So I don't know how I'm going to incubate these. I will have to work something out. I will probably have to put some of these in with those, which I don't like, because I don't like mixing eggs from one place with eggs from another place. I don't think it's best practice. That's just me. But now that I've got them, I'm going to have to do something with them. So I'll probably put these in the mini 2 Advance, see what happens, candle them. Any that haven't developed after, the first week will just be binned, and the others will just be given the best chance and see what happens. And I will keep you updated. They're so different to the other quail eggs. Those are you can see I've got a lot of them. They're so different. Same size, same everything, very different. They're actually even different to, you can see in this box, I've got one where she's obviously run out of toner. This time of year, you occasionally get an egg. I've got quite a few. Oh, let's see if I can open this with one hand, can I? Without spraying eggs everywhere? Yes, I can. So you can see you've got one here. Try and focus on it. That you can see that isn't muck, that is the markings that just haven't quite gone onto the egg properly as it's come out. And sometimes you get ones that are completely white, and they are very like the Celadon, but ordinarily a quail that lays an egg that looks a certain way will always lay an egg that is that certain way. So like this one's quite a light bluey background with a browny coloured matte, well, you can see what it looks like. That same quail will lay very similar eggs. So you will, if you have a small number of quail, you will be able to tell, and you collect them daily, you'll be able to tell them day to day, that's from the same one, that's from the same one. If you take the eggs from one day and compare them against the eggs from another day, you can see which is the same one as the other ones. Whereas these, when they come out, that is a total throw. That is just a random chance that happens. And it tends to happen when they're just sort of starting to lay, just sort of beginning their laying. You can see I've got 2 in that box there. And again, those aren't dirty, those marks on them isn't dirt, that is just the toner. You see the one on the right is very pale, got barely anything on it, and the one on the left's got a few speckles. So those are very like the Celadon, so I'm a bit intrigued by that. I've got a tiny one in there that's probably a little bit small, but there we go. So it does happen. So I'm just intrigued to see how these come out, what they look like. I'll stop wittering now and go and have a cup of tea, I think. I will keep you updated with what happens and where I go from here.